Mr. Speaker, this is mandatory. So I want to draw your attention and the attention of this House to the utterances made by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who happens to be CDF. First, that after his father is a president, no civilian will be a president in Uganda. But two, I hear people who are jeering. Two, that as a CDF, he has now endorsed the NRM chairman for the next presidential elections. These two issues go against the core principles of this constitution, that a CDF, a military officer, is endorsing a candidate of a political party. But two is also issuing threats that no civilian will be a president after his father. So the procedural issue I am raising, Mr. Speaker, that the army will not allow, is whether the Minister of Defense must not be asked to account for these statements. We have UPDF officers who are here. Most of the time, they are be quiet. They fear to tarnish the name of UPDF. But there is one who consistently breaking all the limitations in the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, the procedural issue, because we took the same oath. You remember, even before you became a Deputy Speaker, we all took the same oath and made an undertaking, we shall protect the Constitution. The constitutional order is being overthrown when we are looking on. So Mr. Speaker, can you, using your power, ask government to explain why a particular UPDF officer can be allowed to overthrow the Constitution, announce which candidate to support, and issuing threat to civilian that he will not allow, or the army will not allow a civilian to be president in Uganda?
Thank you. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Chapter 4 of the Constitution is one in which the Bill of Rights is enshrined. And at no time does the Constitution tell us that Article 208 ousts Chapter 4 of the Constitution. Being a military man does not put you outside the ambits of Chapter 4 of the Constitution. You retain the right to express yourself. You retain the right to form an opinion. It would be different. It would be different if he was ferrying ballot papers and voter materials for a particular party. And even then, if he has to do it for security purposes under the circumstances, each case would be adjudged based on its facts. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Since we allowed the Attorney General, we can also hear from the Shadow Attorney General.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. All along I thought I went to the same law school with my learned friend until today. Well, I'm not saying that I'm disappointed because he has expressed his opinion, but I think it is vulgarizing a very important matter which one of Ssemujju has raised. That a serving military officer who is at the helm of the UPDF currently comes up and makes statements which not only contravene Article 208 of the Constitution, but also the UPDF Act itself. And an Attorney General comes and defends that kind of conduct as part of the freedoms of expression and opinion, well knowing that some freedoms are subject to the law.
Just sorry for interruption, Honorable Nwagaba. Some of us, are not in social media and all that. Where are these statements? Because there are things being referred to. No, because it seems there are statements which some people have read, some of us have not read. If one could lay it on the table, it would help some of us. Okay? Yes. No, I'm just asking honestly. Because if we take it that everyone is on social media waiting for statements and all that, okay? So if we can lay on table, Honorable Soro, you want to lay your phone on table?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to lay my phone, which has the Twitter official accounts of the CDF.
Please lay, describe your phone and lay. But just Honorable Segon has said he wants help.
Honorable Speaker, under the same constitution, a person is innocent until he pleads guilty or until he is found to be guilty. When you passed over the mantle to the executive, and the executive owned up as a fact but defended on the law, I was relieved. The executive, which you were asking to respond, I had expected them to say we shall investigate, but because they knew, they did not undertake to investigate. But owing to the seriousness of this matter, Mr. Speaker, I thought, with your guidance, that the right way of dealing with this would be to refer the matter to an investigation, irrespective of who is involved, because it is about our life, it is about the safety of everybody in this country. It is a matter that should be investigated. I went to the same law school, not only law school, but same high school with the Honorable Attorney General Kafuzi. I am not disappointed, because one core thing we were taught is to express the opinion. And the Supreme Court of this land has ruled in Andrew Mwenda and Charles Onyango Bo versus Attorney General that a person has the right to express even a wrong opinion. I was going to say, outside Parliament, I say even a stupid opinion. But fearing you where you're seated, Mr. Speaker, I opted to refrain. My appeal to you, sir, and to this House, for the safety of this country and everybody, is subject to this one investigation so that we have my brother, Kainerugaba, to also say I said, I did not say, I was not in my usual moods or something else. So we give him a right to defend himself.
Thank you.
I thank you.
Honorable colleagues, the UPDF has its code of conduct, has its disciplinary procedures. If any member of the UPDF violates their code of conduct, they are subjected to their disciplinary. I have seen generals going there. I have seen senior officers going there. So I don't want Parliament to turn itself into an investigative body where before the institution can utilize its own mechanisms in case there was a problem. In case there was a problem. So really, I am not going to be referring this matter to a committee for investigation. We have a lot of business to handle here. Let us leave institutions to handle theirs. But Honorable Nwagaba conclude.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Information, okay.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to give information to my Shadow Attorney General. I was the Shadow Minister responsible for Defense and Veteran Affairs in this Parliament. And the Ministry of Defense, fully constituted, came and appeared before our committee. The Honorable Vincent Ssemujju, who was the minister, headed that delegation, supported by the State Minister then, who is now the Minister, Honorable both, and then the CDF then, Honorable Mbadi, who is here. They came. I put this question to them. I told them that we have a serving military officer who appears to be above the law and is contradicting an act of Parliament. When I began to ask the question, the Honorable Ssemujju immediately felt some cold and rushed out of the committee meeting here in Parliament. The Honorable both immediately took a phone call and said, I'm coming back, literally running away. The CDF who had the command, and I challenged him, and the colleagues who sit on the committee was there, he said, as the army commander, can't you issue orders? The CDF Mbadi said, do not cause me trouble. And said, please leave me alone. So the question we are dealing with.
So why does Ssemujju want to cause us trouble? If that's the issue.
So, Mr. Speaker, so first I want to give that information, but now, Mr. Speaker, you also see that the trouble wants to come to you.
No,
but the issue
I
now.
hope Honorable Ssemujju has heard. Yeah, you've given him good advice.
Yes, but beyond that, Mr. Speaker, in the Act, there are provisions for the minister to make regulations. And there are so many regulations that have been made. The last one that I had and I saw the president launching it was called the UPDF establishment. By law, every regulation made by the minister must come before this Parliament so that we can scrutinize to see whether they conform to the spirit and letter of the law that we have made here. That act has not come. But I saw the president and the people who briefly explained say the commander-in-chief, who is given powers by the Constitution and the Act, has now delegated some powers as a commander-in-chief to somebody else. That is extremely contradictory to what we have here. Because, as you know, the commander-in-chief is protected, he has immunity, and etc. I therefore want to request that you prevail over the Ministry of Defense to bring that act here, that regulation, the UPDF establishment, so that we can interrogate the powers that the policy, the regulation has given to the CDF. He may be acting because the powers are provided in that, so that we can nullify it. Otherwise, one day we'll wake up and then you will find that there is no government elected by the people and someone is prevailing over a government which is unconstitutional. It's a danger that we should take care of. That's the information I'm giving.
Attorney General, specific on that issue of UPDF establishment.
Right Honourable Speaker, I will send it to Oduru Jonathan, my honourable colleague. Yes, there are regulations made. And if you are concerned that they have not been tabled in Parliament for purposes of perusal, the Ministry of Defence can do that because it is well within the right of Parliament. Be that as it may, my senior colleagues, the Shadow Attorney General, and my former head boy, the Honorable Segona, cannot legally point to any clause in the Constitution that ousts anyone's right to freedom of conscience, expression, and having an opinion. Now, unless if you are telling us that the Constitution has a conflict within itself, which no court has made a pronouncement on. The status quo remains. I beg to submit.
How I've closed it is how it has been closed. Because I pronounce myself, I pronounce myself twice. Number one, that this is a matter, if it violates any law to do with the UPDF, it has its disciplinary procedures. It will handle.
Lope. Right Honorable Speaker, now that you are speaking matters Lango region, you know, the President and the candidate of the National Unity Platform, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, His Excellency, and the next President, God willing, Musasi's be ready to be on this side.
Honorable Chivumbi, stop recruiting on the floor. Let's go straight onto...
Right Honorable Speaker, last night, the security forces, whatever police, here combined with the military, raided his hotel in the dead of the night in Lira City. And what the reports we are having, they were breaking into hotel rooms, tear gassing, pepper spraying, beating, and good enough, I see the Minister of Internal Affairs is here with us. Can we get an explanation? He's a candidate for presidency, properly cleared by the Electoral Commission, free to reside, free to campaign across the country. And here we are, the police taking it into their own hands to have a night break into a hotel where he's staying and causing all manners of mayhem. So we understand some of our campaigners who are accompanying him, you know, as presidents normally do, they have an entourage. They have been seriously injured and some have been hospitalized. Can we know the crime and the offense that warranted the police to raid a hotel and did what they did to a candidate that is, for all intent and purposes, free to campaign across the country? Right Honorable Speaker.
Minister for Internal Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I've noted the question from the Honorable Kivumbi regarding last night's incident. I only have preliminary information to that effect. I'll get more details, but what I have is that the police were in pursuit of a fugitive suspect who was part of the entourage of the NUP leader and was involved in obstructing and actually taking some items from a police officer, CID Issa Abidie of counterintelligence, embedded as part of the infrastructure for crowd control. So some were arrested. That guy is called Geoffrey Uzima, was suspected to be within the hotel premises, but it seems he wasn't, so that is what caused the incident last night.
So, Honourable Minister, I hope these are issues.
But he will be pursued and brought to book.
So, Honourable Minister, I hope these are issues through your mechanism, which you share with the candidate on why this happened and all that, and then so that it doesn't go beyond to say what was the intention and all that. Okay? Honourable Jonathan?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. In that pursuit, the hotel was vandalized, and so many properties of the hotels were broken, the windows, even TVs. So I want the government to address their minds to the damage they have caused to a businessman who, in pursuit of business, hosted the presidential candidate. What would the position of government be in regard to the damages caused to the property? At least the owner of the hotel deserves an explanation. And we also want the name of Lira as a city not to be painted as a city that, is not welcoming, but also the businessmen to feel free to make money out of this process of elections. We still have about 6 other candidates who are coming to Lira and want them to become comfortable to be able to ask. So would government address us on the issue, specifically why would the police go and force and break and vandalize the hotel, and yet they have other options of containing? If the suspect was within, they could even deploy and wait in the morning to be able to apprehend the suspect.
So now, Minister for Internal Affairs, is there a mechanism of compensating the hotel owner who is innocent in all this process?
I think the collateral damage, like the Honorable Odu puts it, will be assessed and appropriate action taken. But for purposes of this incident, a more detailed report will be furnished as soon as we get it together.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, you've been doing a great job. We've had a peaceful election. I hope let's strive to maintain that line. Okay? Yeah. The same Honourable Ssemujju.
Not the same. I only join you in thanking the Honourable Minister. One of the few ministers you will contact and he will respond. Maybe the others need to learn from him. And not just for a ceremony like the Honourable Hati does, that answering is just a ceremony. So the Minister of Internal Affairs will give you an explanation. You may refuse it, but he will. So can I raise my issue, Mr. Speaker?
I can see you even conceding space before I allow Honourable Bahati. So let Honourable Bahati raise a point of order.
I know, Mr. Speaker, I know the reasons why Honourable Ssemujju is attempting to mention what he's mentioning to Honourable Muhoozi, but I know that he will not do what he's not supposed to do to you. So you don't have to fear about that. But it's in order really to mention that when I'm answering questions here, I'm just doing a ceremony. When I'm answering on behalf of government, under your supervision, can he withdraw that statement, Mr. Speaker? It's a very serious statement.
Maybe also when he's tickling you, also it's a ceremony, and then he gets... Because the two of you, these days, you're so much in, you're enjoying each other so much.
I didn't intend to offend the Honorable Bahati, who today I don't know whether he's a Prime Minister or acting Chief Whip. And if I did offend him, I am sorry. Mr. Speaker, a while ago, and I'm not seeking to open the matter that you have closed, the Honorable Kabyanga did not address one leg of the nation. And I can understand there are ministers who see the president only on TV. Maybe he's one of them. So he may not know everything, as he has demonstrated. But the point, Mr. Speaker, can we get the Minister for Presidency to tell us, as a country, why more than, because Nation Media Group is Daily Monitor, is NTV, is two other radio stations, but also social media. So they have about 7 platforms that are now not allowed to cover the president. So can the Minister for Presidency tell us what exactly happened to calm us down? And that matter will end, Mr. Speaker, if you allow. Thank you.
So the Minister for the Presidency will come and tell us. Yes, Honorable Ssemujju.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. A while ago, Honorable Pachuto advised that we need to subject ourselves to periodical checks following the sudden death of our colleague. But there are also constitutional requirements. To be a president, the Constitution says you must be mentally and physically fit. In America, the President Joe Biden was actually asked not to participate in elections on account of his age, 79. When you have an 80-year-old president who keeps making erratic decisions, Mr. Speaker, I want to implore this parliament that we subject our president to, now that he's 80, to periodical mental and physical test, because that's a requirement of the Constitution. You can see her, but the Constitution says so. As a
Order, Dr. Roki.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I have listened to my senior colleague, Honorable Ssemujju, who happens to be the MP in an area where I live. He is trying to insinuate that an elderly person at 80 years cannot steer this country, cannot reason. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, if America is saying people at 80 should be subjected to other medical tests, but our president has not shown any sign of failing. He has not shown any sign of failing to discharge his duties. So, is Honorable Ssemujju in order to insinuate that our president, who is experienced to lead this country, is he in order to insinuate that our president cannot lead this country? Thank you.
You know, colleagues, I told you some time back that issues of Honorable Ssemujju and His Excellency M7 are like issues of generals. They usually sort themselves. Yeah? But Honorable Ssemujju has referred to the Constitution. The Constitution, I don't know whether it goes to give the parameters of requiring you to subject someone to test and all that. I don't know whether he's proposing we amend the law, we subject them to the test, But the man is doing very well.
Mr. Speaker, I am saying this in good faith because the makers of this Constitution had actually put an article that at 75 you can't be a president. I was not in the CA. And the president himself, before he came here, I was a journalist. When we interviewed him, he said at 75 you are tired. Someone who doesn't even remember that there is no governor for the central bank. We need, and I'm just doing this in good faith, even for his health.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujju, for yielding the floor. From a medical standpoint, we have two types of aging. There is what we call chronological aging, which is a measure of a number of years, and what we call physiological aging, whereby you have seen people who are 60, but they are finished. So they are chronologically young, but biologically aged. And I want to speak as a medical professional that President Yoweri Museveni may have chronologically clocked 80 years, but he is biologically young. And yes, and the spirit and letter of the Constitution is that it is the voters if he presents himself or any other aged person, it is up to the voters to assess whether you are energetic to lead them or not. Indeed, I know the Honorable Ssemujju is a Muslim, but I just want to quote from the Christian Bible. If you read in the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 12, it says, wisdom belongs to the aged and understanding to the old. That's what the Bible says. So there is no problem with the age of President Yoweri Museveni. In any case, physiologically is very sound and able to lead. And indeed, there are many leaders who are above 80 in many countries. We can give you many examples. So, don't be worried. Do not be worried. If he offers himself, it is up to the voters. That's what the Constitution of Uganda says.
So, Honorable Ssemujju, to conclude. I want us to conclude.
I want to thank the Minister for information. He actually only confirms that we need to do a test. That was his submission, to establish whether chronologically or... So we need to do a test. But Mr. Speaker, I am saying this, I want to repeat in good faith. You know, when presidents age, you saw what happened to Zimbabwe. Even family members begin taking national decisions. You saw Grace Mugabe.
Procedure.
These days you have seen the president, his son.
Ssemujju, procedure.
General Otafire, the Minister for Internal Affairs, who I think has now turned this ministry into his retirement nest. He never attends Parliament. So can the Prime Minister tell us and assure Parliament that Jaja Otafire, who is using the ministry as a retirement, will now come here and answer?
The Honorable Otafire and General Muhozi are the members of Cabinet who are charged with the responsibility of that docket. Remember, we agreed here that we have a rota where ministers will be attending, especially those ministries that have more than one minister. And so when you see General Muhozi here, the ministry is ably represented. Otafire is an able minister. He's one, because the other day he was representing government at the Muslim function. Very able and strong.
Information. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I've already guided on what the Prime Minister is going to do, because the biggest challenge is to do with guidance. And where is this coming from? I was chatting with Honorable Saro Pendi. You know, there is a campaign which had been going on called Fear Women. You saw it came as a document, then it started going Fear Women. Now, some information we got, there are some groups with this role who brought it up and all that, but all these things are speculation. So we hope the Prime Minister will be able to do a thorough job and agree how best we can handle this issue. Honorable Ssemujju.
You have briefed us about the recent meetings. I have two issues. First, the Honorable Nawagawe, by our rules here, was appointed by her party to represent the opposition on IPU. I have seen her here when IPU is going on. Can we be told as a parliament what happened to her? Has she refused that assignment? Two, Mr. Speaker, the point that you made about us, and I want to thank the Honorable Cecilia Ogwa. when we demand competence, we don't do so because we are against some people. When you have the Honorable Cecilia Ogwa represent you, everybody will be happy. But when you pick people who are just experienced in milking cows and you send them to international organizations,
Point of order.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker.
Colleagues, please, let's listen to Honourable colleague.
Is it in order, Right Honourable Speaker, for a senior member of this House to use a language that demeans people who know a certain activity and try to present them as incompetent? Is Honourable Ssemujju in order to protection, Right Honourable Speaker? Go on. Is Honourable Ssemujju in order to insinuate that people who know how to milk cows cannot represent this country? Is Honourable Ssemujju in order?
Thank you. Honourable colleagues, I really want us to be serious on some matters. Delegations of Parliament are formed by members of Parliament. Whether someone is experienced, whether someone is a teacher, whether someone has been a sweeper, that person earned, that person went through the same process to come here, like any of us. So I think it is very, if for example, we are saying in forming parliamentary delegations, we can go, we pick strangers. They become part of parliamentary delegations and go and represent parliament. Okay? Then it would be understandable. But when it's a member of parliament, I think we can use the language which is more acceptable.
Mr. Speaker, I don't demean anyone. I am actually commenting on your communication because you said when you went with Honorable Kate Shuma because of his experience, he added value. I would not add the same value. I am just using the same language, but saying the same thing that you said, sir. So
Honorable Ssemujju, I didn't use what I said on Honorable Kate Shuma. I said on trade matters. We handle matters that are different. When it's matters to do with medical, I will pick a medical doctor. When it's matters to do, you get it? So really, it's any member of parliament is competent to handle any matter in the House. So let us respect each other.
I am sorry, Mr. Speaker. The second point I wanted to raise, Mr. Speaker.
No, when a member is sorry, colleagues, it is noted on the answer. Okay? Yeah. All right.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, we want to be one delegation at international conferences. But when you have tortured me here, you have brutalized me. It is like people who brutalize their spouses. When you appear in public, it will show on your faces. In fact, for me, if you take me to an international conference, I may not be as smiling as NRM. So can I be guided? After torturing us here and then you put us on the same plane to go and representing Uganda, how do you want us to behave when we reach there?
Thank you. I want to confirm to honorable colleagues. That all members of parliament we put on delegations are always smiling. And I also want to confirm that from all sides, you are always lobbying to be put on those delegations. Yes, I want to put it on record that from all sides, opposition, NRM members ask to be put on delegations. Yes. So, and those ones who don't want to be put on delegations, I would be happy once you create space for others. You'd have made my work easy. But what I said, which is very critical, Honorable Ssemujju, is before you go as colleagues, you always have an agenda.
you meet, you agree on how to discuss an agenda. Okay? And I believe the head of delegation will always agree with you. It doesn't mean that you go to hide everything, say you go to, no. But you go in knowing that the government might be doing something wrong, but what I'm doing, am I damaging the country?
Procedure?
Mr. Speaker, the procedural issue I am raising, one of the parties that is supposed to be a member of IPOD requested to join. It was stopped. And someone, I don't know under what arrangement, was made a leader of IPOD Secretariat, because we've never seen any advert, told them they must go through a process. So can I, as a way of procedure, Mr. Speaker, ask, maybe you will help the minister responsible for that area to tell us under which regulations, because these ones have just been brought, so under which regulations was NUP stopped from joining IPOD?
Honourable Minister for Justice.
I wish to state for the record that the National Unity Platform has not been stopped from joining IPOD. As a matter of fact, they have received clear guidance in a formal letter from the IPOD Secretariat, and I believe that at the next summit of the IPOD, they will come and publicly declare their interest and participate fully in the ceremonies substantively that will announce to the country their membership. We are obliged to invite, and they are invited, and they have always been invited. Mr. Speaker, I'm the one who even said I'm willing to kneel before the NUP to join IPOD. Why would anybody stop the NUP from being part of IPOD? And we communicate with the senior officers of IPOD. Right now we are in correspondence with the Secretary General of IPOD. I wish to advise the Honorable Ssemujju not to base his submissions in Parliament on the opinions expressed by bloggers on TikTok.
Thank you. Honorable Dur, you also had
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the reading of the powers the minister has to make regulation is worded in a way that the minister, with the approval of Parliament, for him to come and lay a regulation here presupposes that he has made already a regulation. If you look at the law, it is with the approval of Parliament. So what he should be laying here is the draft regulation, and it must be captured on record that he has laid a draft, which is now subject for examination by this Parliament, the committee, and the committee will report. And once Parliament approves, then the minister will now have powers to go and make that. So I thought that clarification must be done. But if the minister confirms that he has laid the regulation, I think he would have violated the powers that we conferred upon him.
Yeah, that's why I refer what he laid here, what the minister laid, to the committee, okay, for processing. Said the committee should process. So meaning they can make alteration, they can bring in new things and all that and reporting back. But I don't know whether Honorable Minister, Honorable first go and sit on the right side of the House. Then you on the right talk.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we stand corrected that this indeed should be considered as a draft, because they cannot be regulations until Parliament has given its approval. We stand corrected.
I think let's have them as proposed regulations. Okay? Yeah.
Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Parliament is being asked to approve more than, it's now 8 trillion in supplementary funding. If this continues, we will soon reach a point where the annual budget is treated as a ceremonial event, where the real spending happens through supplementary schedules.
Road contracts that have been running for years cannot be classified as emergencies. Oil palm compensation has been ongoing for a decade. The UPDF hospital in Imbuya has appeared in 3 consecutive supplementary requests. Donor exits, such as you said, have been announced far in advance. These are predictable matters that should have been foreseen in the main budget.